Hey everybody, Joseph Estrada here. We are here, Real Talk, with my brother,
Isaac French.
All right. And we got the man behind the scenes, Mr.
Cody.
Let's go, Cody Crawford. All right. So, man, how was your week, guys? How's your week been, Mr. French?
It was very busy.
Very busy?
Very, very busy. As you know, I'm trying to sell my house,
Yes.
right? Trying to get work done on that.
Yep.
Kind of, weighed down. Did a big paint job all week, and then I have to do my homework on the weekends and stuff, so that kind of threw a wrench into my timeline for that, but it's all good.
But you stick to schedule. You do the work that's needed, whether you want to or not.
Yeah, I do. You
do.
get up early. You do what you have to do.
Yeah.
Get up on the ladder, whatever.
Get up on the ladder.
Yeah.
Paint the paint job that's at a loss to do the right thing.
Yeah. I mean, we made some money. It wasn't the best paint job for sure.
Yeah.
But for me, I'm not really even out there for the money necessarily. It helps from time to time, but for me, it's about me being on the ladder instead of my Papa David.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
Right on. No,
So,
I love it. And I knew that. And the fact that you do that says a lot about you. For those of you that don't know, that's my man's heart, and it's a beautiful thing.
Thank you.
We were talking before we got started about, the weather, the heat, climate, things changing, and I kind of started talking about some other stuff, but I wanted to talk about that first because it's starting to get hot, right? It's I think this week's going to be about 106.
Yikes.
And we're going to find a lot of people wanting to take a step back from going out and doing their hikes, hitting their workouts, going on their runs, and moving. And a lot of people making excuses of, oh, it's just too hot, I'll do it later. Sometimes later never comes.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think that it kind of depends on the person and their circumstance. Like if going and doing your workout or your run at 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the peak of the hot day is going to give you heat stroke and that's going to cause a problem, maybe be smart about that.
Yeah,
but anticipate that the heat's coming.
Yeah.
Right? If you know it's going to be hot, maybe you're going in the morning, maybe you're going in the afternoon, like plan for it. Or if you need to stick to your 2 o'clock because that's your period of time. I mean, you can go up into the mountains where it's a little bit cooler. You can go somewhere else. You could go, bring a lot of water.
Yeah.
Dress for the occasion, wear the right shoes.
Yes.
All of those things help.
Yeah, you said something that I love because I always tell people training is good. You want to train physically because you want to stay physically healthy, physical, mentally, and spiritually. It's very important to have those aspects and areas of your life taken care of. But you said something of anticipate that the heat is coming. So not only in training, but I think training can prepare you for life because we need to anticipate that the heat is coming.
Right.
Because
we all have the weather
change.
app, like you can see.
Right, we all have the weather app. We all know what's coming.
Right.
It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when and how are we going to handle the heat when it gets here. Right now in our industry, and not just in our industry, actually in a lot of industries. I've talked to a couple other owners in other companies that are in different industries that, their numbers have, one of them, solar company, a friend of mine that owns a solar company, we were talking the other day.
Okay.
And he said, Joe, our numbers, we were running on average 40 to 50 contracts a month.
Okay. What's he doing now?
And he said he ran in, I think it was May, went from 40 to 50, literally just fell off a cliff to about 5.
That's a huge drop.
A huge drop. So, anticipating.
It's like a 90% drop.
That's a 90% hit, man. And a lot of other industries too. I know that even us, with the, let me hit that bad boy right there. Call that guy back. But even us in our industry, with the rates increasing,
right?
We felt it. There were no more refis, and we're like, oh gosh, we lost a good 60% of our revenue as a company, and it's like, okay, we got to get creative. What are we going to do? The heat's coming. How are you going to handle it? Are you going to go hide in a nice air-conditioned place and do nothing and just get beat up and watch it get worse and do nothing about it? Or are you going to get out and make some moves? And, one thing I'm excited and happy and proud of you for what you're doing. You've created a flyer to go out and promote products that we have with the change of environment and climate. The heat's here.
Right.
Well, you found a nice pina colada cooler to give to people in a hot environment in terms of the mortgage world.
That's a good analogy. Yeah. I mean, you can't do the same things, right? When the market changes, you have to change with the market.
Yes.
Right? The types of programs we're offering, the way that we are targeting, our clients and our audience and stuff. We can't be going about that like we were a year and a half ago, 2 years ago. It's completely different. People are fearful.
For the solar industry, for a lot of industries, yeah.
I feel like they're kind of keeping the fact that we're in this recession a little hush-hush because people tend to freak out. We had the hurricane. How many people ran and rushed out to go get batteries and flashlights and tarps and sandbags and rice or whatever.
Yeah.
I didn't go get anything.
I didn't either.
I didn't buy a single thing. And you know what happened? It rained for like
And we were
6
good.
hours. It was fine.
We were good.
A little windy.
There was a little stimulus in some of the industries, rice industry, batteries.
Like a little pop, yeah.
Duracell stock went up a little bit. You know what I mean?
You almost wonder if that was by design. Like, let's freak everybody out so they'll go buy the rice.
Right? Just saying, yeah. Yeah, no, that's something. But yeah, it's something to be said, man. And you know, that's one reason I really love training. I love coaching. I love pushing the kids. I love pushing myself, you know, because in life, you know, things are going to happen. They're going to come at us, and, you know, adversity's inevitable, you know, for everybody. And that's a good thing, because that's when we grow. You know, we don't grow when, you know, it's all flowers and sunshine.
Yeah.
You know, when the storms come and it rains and it's heavy and it's flooding and we have to put in work and do the things that we're not used to doing and get uncomfortable, that's when we grow, as much as we don't like it. So I correlate that to training, and even speak it to the kids when I'm coaching at times. Like, you know, guys, what we do here, getting comfortable, being uncomfortable, learning how to go to that dark place, wanting to stop. Everything in your mind and body tells you to stop, but somehow there's something deep inside you that says, no, I'm not going to stop. I'm actually going to push even harder. That resilience, that strength, that mental fortitude isn't just good on the mat or in the weight room or on the track or in the pool or whatever sport you're doing or whatever you're training for.
Yeah.
That mental strength and fortitude and toughness is good for everywhere in life. I mean, everywhere. We all go through things, and if you can learn to channel that energy and transfer that mentality and heart and drive from here in the weight room or on the track or wherever you're at in terms of your training,
right,
into that life situation. You know, for us, for example, you know, numbers were down, you know, and I'm not afraid to say it. I think it's important to share with people. Things happen, you know, businesses go up, businesses go down, numbers go up, things are cyclical. You know, how are you going to react in that cycle? And you guys know I was a little frustrated. You know, I was carrying some weight and some burden, and I was looking at what I didn't have instead of looking at what I did have. And the reality is the numbers aren't where they should be. I'll just say it out loud on here. People can watch in our real estate side. You know, our agents are not producing the way that they should. They have all the tools and resources. They have the programs in the lending side. They have the best support staff in the industry. And I say that with confidence.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our escrow is sought after, highly sought after from outside agencies, which is why we're going independent, so that outside agencies can utilize our services, because we are the best. Our transaction coordinator is the best.
Yeah,
we have companies recruiting her all the time. She stays here. Our processing team, the best.
Yeah.
Our lending team, the best.
Yeah.
We have everything that we need, that our agents need to succeed. And I was getting frustrated because I was looking at that.
Right.
At the negative, at them not performing.
Right.
Instead of all the other things I just mentioned that are amazing.
Yeah.
And once I was able to shift my mindset and say, wait a minute, I'm looking at this right in front of my face right here that's negative, and I can't see all of this favor and blessing and encouraging things in our lives and our business and the people around us, because I'm focused on the negative. Well, once I took that down and was able to see the positive, I felt a lot better.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say I'm not still frustrated, because I am.
Right.
With the fact that I see people not performing and not doing what they've been taught to do in order to work their business. But I'm also seeing some do it.
Yeah.
You know, there's a couple of agents right now that are out door knocking.
Yep.
And that means
they got the memo.
They got the memo.
Yeah, they know the heat's coming. Right.
They know the heat's coming. And
they brought a water bottle. They
brought a water bottle. They're hydrating. They're knocking on doors. They're doing their thing. Our lending team is hustling. We're working. And, you know, it's just being prepared for those moments. And, you know, as leaders, whether you're a coach, whether you're leading a mortgage company and a team, whatever it is, whether you're a mom or dad in the household, it's important for us to know how to see things coming and to be able to get ahead of things and teach our family, our kids, our team how to work through that adversity, because it's gonna come. How are we gonna react? How are we gonna respond? Are we gonna come together and bind stronger because we're stronger together than we are alone?
Right.
Or are we gonna flutter away and stand off on our own, trying to only provide and take care of ourselves instead of taking care of others, which is another key factor that we know.
I think that in this climate, right? I mean, the 2 for what was $3.50 sausage McMuffins are now $5.50. The gas is $5 a gallon. Rents are up. Groceries are up. Everything is like, you get paid. Where to go? Oh crap!
Yeah.
You know.
No, it's
and
true.
so I feel like
true.
in that environment, people tend to become fearful. And I feel like out of that fearfulness, they lose like what you're talking about, that willingness to work with each other. Because when you work with somebody, and you're working for somebody else's goals, which is super important to do. That's how you get ahead, actually.
It really is.
By helping other people solve their problems.
Yes, that's right.
But the risk involved is that the time and energy you spend solving somebody else's problems takes away from your capacity to solve your own problems, which right now, there's a lot of freaking problems.
Yeah.
Right?
People are sitting on stuff.
Yeah.
On problems.
Yeah.
Issues. You know, and it said the solution to our problem is the solution to someone else's problem.
Yeah.
Collaboration, working with each other, helping each other out. Actually, my buddy that has the solar company, we were talking and I said, you know, I think it's important, and I've talked to you about it.
Yeah.
And you agreed.
I think it's going to be great if we're all established with that. If I would have had something I could have come in on my first day and started selling, I would have been selling it.
Yeah.
I had to wait. I had to get my license. I had to get my mortgage license. I had to go through all the training, all this stuff. I feel like if we had like a little intro training for brand new agents, they come in.
Yeah.
This is how you do it. This is how you work it. This is how it's similar to real estate. So you know that you're not developing a skill set that's going to be useless once you do get that real estate license, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Boom. Day one, they can go out and start door knocking.
And they're correlated. They really are.
Yeah.
And the thing is, there is licensing requirements on that side as well.
Yeah.
Much easier to get.
Right.
The training behind it, you know,
You're not waiting for the DRE for 6 months.
No. I mean, this can be done in a matter of, I guess, a week or two, a couple weeks.
See, I would have had that instantly, and I would have sold some solar panels.
And it's smart because we said, seeing what's coming, right? Mm-hmm. California, especially. I mean, they are pushing to get rid of vehicles that are gas wrapped.
The grid needs the power.
Right?
Yeah.
They're saying, you know, no. One hand they say that, and then the next hand they say you can't use your power, we're going to shut you down. Very confusing, but the reality is they're pushing for that.
Yeah.
So right now in California, and I don't know if in other states, maybe, it's actually required on any new construction home.
Right, I know that.
Solar is included. There's a certain amount, but it is a requirement. California state law, it's a requirement.
Yeah.
Right? If you're building a new home, you got to have solar on it. Well, I mean, who's to say that they might not get to the point where they say, hey, okay, now everybody in California, you have 6 months to have solar installed on your property, or at least have a contract locked in. We're now requiring everybody to have solar.
Right.
I don't know.
They could.
It's a possibility.
They roll out with some California program.
Some California program. So us being ahead of that, providing a new service in a solar division at Family Tree Realty and Investments Inc. in collaboration with Matt and his company.
Yeah.
Why not? Why not get ahead of that? Why not help our clients, put them in a better position? You know, reality is if we can help people save money on a utility, on a bill that's going to be there for life.
Yeah. No, you had something the other day where you were like, well, how long are you planning on paying for electricity?
Yeah.
What was that? Like that whole
Yeah.
story?
I mean, I said, you know, so a lot of people might say, well, I don't want to get because we offer seconds. We can offer second loans at Family Tree Lending up to 95%
for owner-occupied.
On owner-occupied and 90%
on investment.
On investment property, not owner-occupied. So if we went to somebody, let's say investors, which would be a great candidate for this. They have rental properties. A lot of investors, a lot of my properties don't have separate meters. So if they do, great, we can charge it to the tenant.
Like on a triplex or
on
duplex?
A triplex, yeah. Like the one right over here.
Yeah.
It does not have a separate meter. There's
same with the water, too.
Same with the water. Yeah. So if we can get in that situation, say, hey, you know, Mr. Investor, we can get you solar, get the solar paid off with a second.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to pay a loan through or lease the solar through a solar company.
Right, it's your
now
panels.
You own it. You get all the tax benefits of own it. And that bill is gone. You know, yes, it's going to be on your loan, and well, I don't want to get a second loan. Well, how long do you plan on paying electricity to Edison?
Forever. Right.
Because it is forever.
Yeah.
And you tell me, is Edison going to keep the electric rate where it's at now, or is it going to go up?
I'd imagine it's going to go up just like everything else does.
Historically, it has.
Right.
It's gone up. So if you can secure a rate on solar that's going to save you over time and let you know exactly where you're going to be for the remaining X amount of years, let's say 30 years on your property.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What a win. So yeah, just another opportunity, man. So that's us and you using insight, thinking ahead on what's coming. And, you know.
Well, I was doing research for the Monday Market Minute I got to do after this, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, these rates have slowed down, I think, like 15% compared to last July.
Yeah.
Like total, like in like real estate transactions, right, are down 15%.
Yeah.
And a big reason for that is that people back during the glory days, that's when I got started, right? When the rates were 2s and 3s and 4s.
Yes.
Well, now you're going to go sell your house and trade your 2 or 3 or 4 for a 7 or an 8.
Yeah.
No way. You're not going anywhere.
No,
right.
No.
But a lot of people, they have this equity, and there's a lot you can do with that equity. Like me personally, like the first thing my mind went to was college tuition.
Yeah.
Right. Like could use that equity to pay for your students' college tuition, you're probably going to get a better shake than you would going through Moella, right? Going through it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe your home needs a new roof. You don't have money in the bank for the new roof. Well, chances are you have all the money you need for college tuition and a roof or debt consolidation or whatever. Maybe you have an investment opportunity. But people look to their bank account and go, I can't do it.
Yeah.
I can't do it.
Yeah.
The money's in your house already.
It's there.
And you can access it with the second mortgage without even touching your first mortgage. So you can keep your 3% on your first.
Yeah.
And the glory is that the good thing, it is glory.
It's glorious.
The glorious interest rates, right? The low interest rates that we're actually able to offer on these seconds and HELOCs that just blow everything else out of the water to actually make it make sense.
And you said it, seconds or HELOCs, home equity line of credit. They can get a line of credit of up to $100,000. They don't even have to pull it out.
Right.
So they don't even have to start paying on any interest until they grab the money. But they have access to it in case the college comes up, in case the roof leaks during the tornado, and they need to get a new roof for hurricane, whatever the case may be, but they're ready.
Right.
Oh, I love it, man.
Yeah.
I love it. And you're right. There's a lot of people out there that want to take advantage of things like that or even investment opportunities, and they just don't have the cash in hand, but they have it in their home. And putting a 30-year loan, I mean, just guesstimating on some numbers. I looked at an estimate the other day, at an 8% at about $100,000. It was $700 and something a month for a 30-year.
Right.
For $100,000.
That's not bad.
Not bad at all.
No.
For $100,000. So you go take that $100,000, you go reinvest that on a HELOC, home equity line of credit. Let's say somebody wants to get into flipping, which we teach people how to do.
Yep.
We can educate them. They can even get in on a project with us if they have an opportunity that they bring to the table. Hey, we got you. Instead of just passing it on to us, let's educate you and show you. Partner up with us. We'll teach you how to do this. We'll show you how to make some money. You utilize that line of credit to go ahead and invest into that project.
Right.
You get a great return on your dollar with us because we win. Our ROI on average is about 18 to 20%.
That's
fantastic. What I was talking to you about.
Yeah,
a lot of investors will take 10%, but we try to keep it 18 to 20% minimum. So if it's a partnership and they're 50-50 pluses and minuses, they get a 10% ROI on their money. They put that in, put it back, pay off that home equity line of credit, and have extra capital to play with and do it again.
Right.
And that's the beauty of it.
That's a wealth building tool.
It's a wealth building
That's
tool.
a huge thing. Like, I feel like a lot of people, screwed up with their credit cards.
Yeah.
Right? They didn't use their credit cards right. The credit card companies burned them. Right? And so there's a huge stigma out there oh, you got to stay out of debt. You got to stay out of debt. You got to stay out of debt. For me personally, I paid attention to that really deeply when I was a kid. I remember in my statistics class, I learned nothing about statistics.
Yeah.
Nothing. I didn't pay any attention to that. I slept a lot. But I remember one time I was nodding off and the teacher started talking about credit cards and car loans and 30-year loans. And I was up and I was asking him questions. And I even came back after class and I was like, how does a credit score work and all this stuff? I have found that the financial flexibility that borrowing money offers is a huge wealth creation tool if you can use it correctly. Because there's been different times where, we're in this industry. It's feast or famine, right? So sometimes you have a couple of months where your closings aren't coming in. Maybe you don't want to spend the reserves in the bank account. So here and there, you're spending the credit card to just keep that money in the bank for the emergencies, for what it's for.
Yeah.
It's been invaluable to be able to develop that skill and utilize that credit in the right way.
Properly.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's true. I mean, look at Robert Kiyosaki. I don't know everything about him, but I do know he truly believes in utilizing other people's money, credit debt, to create wealth, and that man is extremely wealthy. There's a couple of things, just a little tidbit on that. You leverage yourself. You have an investor here with $500,000 and says, hey, I'm going to go pay cash for this triplex, and it's or a duplex, let's say, for $500,000.
Okay.
Goes and buys the duplex, $500,000 cash. Great. You have zero debt on the property. You have one duplex. You're getting a great return. Your money's making more money than it would sitting in the bank. Absolutely.
100%.
You hold the asset. God willing, there's equity position that
you could have bought it with a mortgage
time.
zone, bought 3 properties,
However,
4 properties.
You leverage that. You go put 20% down on a $500,000 property. Let's say you even put 30% down on a $500,000 property. That's $150,000.
Right.
$150,000. $150,000. You can go get 3 of those same units.
Yep.
Put yourself in a positive cash flow position, even in this market, with 30% down because of where the rents are. Putting more than 20% down, you're going to get that payment a little bit lower.
Right.
Now you're in a positive cash flow position. Yes, your return immediately is not as big as it was then because you have the loan to pay off, but you're in positive cash flow position. Now you have 3 equity positions. You have 3 different properties to write off on taxes and expenses.
Right.
You're in a much better position. You've leveraged yourself 3 ways versus 1. I believe it's the play. Is there a little bit more risk? Yes and no. I mean, there is because there's a loan involved, and I get that.
Yeah.
but with the risk comes greater reward.
But I feel like if you're investing in a property, right, you're going to make sure you're getting a good deal on it regardless. So even if the market takes a shift or you have to offload the property, you should do your homework so that way, if you have to in the short time horizon, you have equity to pay that off and not burn yourself
You're
that way.
You're in an equity position.
I had a question. I don't know if this is a podcast question, but I'll ask you anyway. Let's say I have capital, right? But I'm not ready to buy a primary house. But I have capital I could potentially use with like a DSCR loan, right? Buy the DSCR property, investment property for rental.
So DSCR, debt servicing loan.
Right.
Yep.
So it's not using my income. I just have to provide the down payment and show that the rent comps justify the mortgage payment, basically.
You're in the positive.
Right. And then later, I want to use my income to purchase a primary residence. How does the DSCR loan impact your DTI ratios when you go to buy your primary if you already have an investment property?
You can only use 75% of the rents that you're taking on that property. So let's say, just for simple numbers, $1,000 is what you were covering. Let's say it was a wash. You got the DSCR loan. You were making nothing.
Yeah, ratio of one.
Ratio of one. It was 1 for 1. It was flat. So you're not losing anything. You're not making anything. It's $1,000. You would only get $750 of that proposed rental income. So you'd be.
But then you only get 45% of that as your gross monthly income for your DTI ratios. So you do take a hit a little bit,
You're
right?
going to take a hit because that $1,000 that you are receiving, you're only going to get $750 to apply towards income.
Okay.
So you're still going to take a little bit of a hit. So that's something that you got to think about, especially if you do have a plan on doing
So the
that
plan be
first.
primary and then go DSCR, because at that point it doesn't really matter because they don't really
check
look.
ratios up front and say, hey, I can do this knowing that I'm going to have enough room to purchase what I'm going to be comfortable purchasing later.
Okay.
So just have your lender right here take a look at those numbers and make sure that they crunch. And as long as they do, and if they don't, then there you go.
Okay.
So you know what? That's not going to work. Let's go buy a 2 to 4 unit property for my first property. Go buy 4 units. I'm going to be able to do a primary residence loan as well as 3.5% down.
That's a better shake.
Now you can use 75% of the proposed rents on the other 3 units you're not living in for qualifying income and qualify for that 4-unit property with a higher income coming in because of those 3 units that you're going to use the proposed rents on.
Right.
And now you got your first investment property. You live there for 6 months or more, and then you want to go do it again. You go do it again.
Heck yeah.
Rent them all. Call it a day. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah. Which we actually had a client do that not too long ago. If you remember, he didn't do it on units, but
didn't he like rent out the rooms in his house?
Yep.
Right.
Similar thing.
But the bank won't accept that, right?
No. But he qualified for the home on his own.
But he was just wanting to save.
He was just wanting to save, and he said, "Joe, I bought this house with you guys, and I was renting a house with my buddies. All my buddies that we were renting together, now they're renting from me." And he says, "My overall monthly life expenses went down, and I own my own home now." And he has his own music room. He's smart. He gave himself the smallest room in the house because he's a smart young man.
Yeah.
Rented the bigger room for more money. He
Wow.
was thinking, put himself in a really good position. And now he owns his own home. He's paying less a month than he was paying to rent somebody else's home.
Wow.
He's gaining equity. His buddies are helping him pay his house off.
Yeah.
Has his own music room, has his own property. He can do whatever he wants. Great play, man.
That's
Extremely
sweet.
Smart.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So that's I think the education process that we can offer to anyone in the industry you're looking to get into real estate or buy or sell is crucial. We just got to get it out there more because I think there's a lot that people don't know that we do, that we take for granted because it's just what we do.
Yeah, we see it every day.
If they knew, they would, oh my gosh, that's smart. We should do that.
I have another question. So obviously right now, like the real estate market's a lot cooler than it used to be. Things are slowing down.
Yes.
How does that affect your strategy when you're looking to pick up a potential flip? Like, do you factor that in? Like this neighborhood's maybe on a declining trend over the past 6 months, and how you factor that into the time it's going to take to actually flip the property, rehab the property, and get it back on the market?
Yes, that's a really good question, and I do. I do. Actually, I don't know if you remember the other day I was showing
you use the 180-day comps instead of the 180.
Bit of a trick, yeah. So,
but is that all you do?
No. So when comping a property in a shift in a market, in any market, you always want to use foresight. You have to.
Right.
So I always look at what's taking place that year in that community. Then I go 6 months as an appraiser would just to see where the value of the property would be if it was rehabbed right now and I was putting it on the market today.
Okay.
And then I cut that back to 120 to 90 days because a typical project that we look at is going to take as little as 30 and as long as, I've had some take longer than they should, but 3 months, 90 days should be at its most, depending on.
And then a month to sit on the market.
And then a month to sit on the market. So I adjust the time frames that I search for comparable solds back so that I don't come into a position later when it actually comes on the market 90 days after I buy it. And I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Why did it go down? Because the comps that were good when we bought it are good for 6 months from the time you
for an appraisal
for an
purposes.
appraiser.
Yeah.
But by the time you rehab it, 3 months has gone by. Those comps that were good 6 months
fall
ago,
off.
they're gone.
Right.
Yeah. So that's where trying to kind of use a little foresight, see where it was, see where it is, and see where it's going by market trends.
Okay.
Now, in terms of how, because it's harder, right? It's harder to find them. It really is. Getting much more aggressive. I mean, I'm a real estate broker.
Yeah.
I have lenders and agents that work for me.
Right.
Our team are partnered with us, I should say. They don't work for me. They're partnered with the company.
Right.
You know, I'll just tell you a scenario recently. Caden brought an opportunity to me in Beaumont. And he says, Joe, I found a flip. And I'm like, dude, you beat me to it. Good job. I said, that's yours. I said, let me look into it. Let me crunch the numbers. And I said, look, this is a deal, but it's not going to be a deal if you represent me. And he's like, what do you mean? I found it. And I said, exactly. You found it. But if you represent me or anybody else represents me, other than the agent that's representing the seller, we don't have a chance of getting this property. So I explained it to him. I said, I'll still pay your commission, whatever they're paying, minus your company cut. I'm going to pay it. You're still going to get a bump on the board to climb the ladder of increasing your commission rate at the company.
Nice.
So nothing changes for you.
Yeah.
But we're going to actually have a fair shot of getting this.
Right.
It's like, oh, and sure enough, man, I put an offer in with the agent. There were 14 offers. Out of the 14 offers, there were five cash offers and my offer, which was a hard money loan.
Okay.
You know, I again, we talked about leverage earlier.
Right.
I could pay cash for the project.
Right.
I might only be able to do a couple projects at a time if I pay cash comfortably without my stomach hurting because a lot of cash out.
No,
right?
I know that feeling.
Yeah. So instead of doing that, I utilize the hard money company that I've partnered with. I've done so many with them. We have great terms. They close fast. It's the way to go.
How fast is the escrow with the hard money as opposed to like an FHA? Is it a 30-day escrow?
12 to 17 days is
Wow.
the peak. I mean, that's pushing. That's everybody doing their part, everybody knowing their role and getting the job done.
Got it.
You know, 21 days is safe to say, but we can go 12 to 17 if we're rolling.
we're on it.
If we're on it, yeah. And then some, I know there's some out there say we can get it done in 7, and I'm sure there is, but the team that I utilize, I'm comfortable with. They performed over and over again. We have a good relationship, so I stick with them.
What part of it makes it faster is the fact that there's less loan conditions because you're already underwritten as a partner with them, so they know your credit's good.
Yeah,
okay.
We already have packages in. They have everything. The gal that handles that for us. And this is the funny thing. People say, why don't you do them on your own? You own a mortgage company. I do.
Yeah.
But I let someone else. I let Anel handle those for me. She doesn't work for us. She's an outside company.
Yeah.
Which seems odd to some people. You should do them on your own.
Well, the terms are favorable over there.
Terms are favorable. Time. She specializes in it. I don't want to have to worry about that. I don't want to add another thing to my plate.
Yeah.
I want to focus on what I focus on.
Right.
Is that something that may happen in the future? Maybe.
We'll see.
You know, maybe we get you running them. One of the guys in our division that wants to specialize in that. But this is the thing. That's all she does.
I see.
She will not come on.
She doesn't
standard
do
conventional FHA.
SFRs.
She's like, no, Joe, I don't do that because I want to be the best at what I do for you and my other clients. And I respect that and appreciate it.
Yeah.
And that's why we stay there.
Right.
Now, that allows us to leverage our money. Now, back to the story, there were 14 offers.
Right.
5 of them were cash. They were only going to counter the cash offers. However, I was in the counter offers, even though I wasn't cash.
Because you were going to let the listing agent represent you.
Because not only because the listing agent was representing me, but I made sure to do the best thing I could for the seller. Put a $10,000 earnest money deposit. Made it non-refundable upon signature of offer.
Wow.
Told them they could utilize Citizens Escrow, which is our in-house escrow company, for a flat fee of $500.
Save them some escrow.
Saving them extra money on that.
That's competitive.
Gave the agent some incentive, like, hey, I'll teach you what I'm doing. I'll show you how we do it. And I'll let you come through and do videos and say, hey, this is one of our investor properties from A to Z. Follow the project. You know, I created more value.
Yeah.
I at the end of it all, I made sure that the agent knew, and this is true. The reality is when we're representing a client, whether we're the seller's agent or the buyer's agent or broker, it's our fiduciary duty to do the best thing for them.
Right.
So I let her know, this isn't about me. This is about your seller. I want to position myself so that we can make sure they get the best for them. And if it's not me, that's okay. I just need you to know that. Well, we sent out the counters. I got my number to a certain number. I said, this is what I'm willing to do, which was about $100,000 more than they were asking.
Oof.
Lo and behold, she calls and she says, Joseph, I say, hey, how you doing? Logan, how you doing? oh gosh, I'm all right. You're going to be mad at me. And I was like, oh, mad at you? Why? She's like, well, I have bad news. And I told her immediately, I said, Logan, there's no bad news. There's just news. I said, what's going on? Talk to me. She says, well, to my surprise, another buyer came in cash. They countered back at 285 cash. And I said, that's just news.
Yeah.
I said, this is a good thing for your seller. I said, I'm not mad at you. I'm disappointed because I want the deal. I said, that's just human nature. You're allowed to be disappointed, but I'm not mad at you. I'm actually happy and proud of you. You did a good job for your client.
Right.
You got the best that you could get for them. And if I was a part of helping that happen because of me being willing to push, because I was the second highest offer,
right,
then praise God, your client's getting what they deserve.
Heck yeah.
And I said, so I'm not mad at all. I'm grateful that you gave me the opportunity, and I'm happy that your seller's getting what's best for them. However, if anything does happen and this thing falls out, I want you to know that I'm here and I'm ready to go. And my team and I will get this thing closed in a very timely manner, and it'll be a blessing for everybody.
Did you ever hear back?
I did. Actually, I texted her this morning. Friday, she says, are you still waiting? Thursday, I sent her a video message.
I remember I was actually there with you.
You were there when I sent the message, letting her know that, hey, we're here, ready to go. If anything changes, things happen, let me know. Friday, she said, hey, this might come back on Monday if you're still here. I said, I'm still here. We're ready to go. So this morning, I sent her a text just letting her know, hey, Logan, I'm here if you need me. My team's ready to go. We'll get that opened up today if it falls out. So
heck yeah.
The cool thing is, because of the way I approached it with the right heart and properly, it's the right thing to do. It's her job. I don't ever want anybody to compromise what the right thing is. And it was her job to do the best thing for her client.
Yeah.
And her client, number one, was the seller, to get them the most. So she understood that. She knew it was genuine. She said, I appreciate it so much. She actually felt bad I didn't get it.
Yeah.
Because she really wanted to work with us.
Most people wouldn't care, honestly.
Yeah, most people wouldn't care.
Yeah.
So that meant a lot to me. And it shows, when you do the right thing, you're not always going to win that deal, but you're going to make a mark and you're going to be remembered for doing the right thing.
How many offers do you think you put out, like how before you get one, like 10, 20? Like if we're making an offer, if we find 20 properties, right? What do you think the conversion percentage? 20%?
Yeah,
so about 2.
20.
Okay.
Yeah, about 5. The goal is 5 offers a week. To grab when I stay consistent. Right now I have Avenue D, Avenida La Paz that are in process of finishing up the rehabs. And then I'm in escrow on another one in Ontario that I just picked up. And
how do you find most of them?
Well, Avenida La Paz, I found from what I call a bird dog. That's a company that goes around and they specifically find investment opportunities for investors like myself.
Bird dog.
Yep, that's bird dog. So they go out, they find the opportunities, and they bring them back. And he brought me an opportunity from another investor out of LA. LA investor said it's too far. The project's just been sitting. So they connected him with me. We crunched numbers out. We came to terms. I ended up buying the project and taking it over from another investor.
Nice.
And he left enough meat on the bone that I was going to do well. So
cool.
I grabbed it and we moved on that one. Avenue D, I found from Shauna, your aunt. Actually.
Really?
She brought that one to the table. It was a family that was in the church. Long story short, they were going to be not evicted, but they were asked to vacate because the owner was going to sell the property.
Okay.
Well, I came in and I bought the property so that they could stay. There were terms attached to that agreement, and at the end of the day, they didn't stick to their agreement. It's been almost a year and a half.
Oh, no.
And we tried. They were not paying on time. They were damaging the property, and it got so bad that we had to, follow through with our agreement. And so they ended up vacating and moving out. And it is, but, we gave them an extra year and a half in the house so that they can find different living situation and, would have let them stay there a lot longer if it would have went down the way it was supposed to. But we ended up finding that one from a referral.
Okay.
The one in Ontario, I found from one of our agents, Teresa Rubio. She brought it to the table. And as I mentioned today, if someone brings an opportunity to the table, we work with them. And she ended up bringing that to the table, and she's partnering with me on the deal.
Really?
Yeah.
That's so exciting for her. That's awesome.
Then the other one I'm working on trying to pick up in Beaumont right now, Caden pointed it out on the MLS, and the agent's representing me, but Caden found that one on the MLS. So
right.
All different avenues. And that's the thing. In a market like the market that we're in right now, and I think all the time, not even in just this market, you want to have multiple avenues to achieve the goal that you have in front of you. So my goal is to find flip properties. I don't want to just do it through the MLS. Right. I don't want to just do it through the bird dogs. I don't want to just do it through me knocking on doors. And I don't want to just do it through my realtors. I want to do it through a vast array of avenues because sometimes I'll get a call from here. I'll get a call from here. I'll get a call from here. I'll get a call from here.
Right.
So if I'm getting 5 to 10 calls a week, maybe one will work out. Plus, I send out mail outs to absentee owners, letting them know we can A, manage the property, B, refinance, or C, buy it from you or sell it. You know, we give them the options, and I get opportunities from that. So
what do you think is the most productive channel then for coming across flips?
Man, that's the crazy thing.
They all pretty balanced?
They're all pretty balanced.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, you know, MLS is a good tool. The only thing about the MLS, once it's on the MLS,
everyone knows about it.
Everyone and their mom knows about it. And that's
competition side.
You have to get very creative, as I do. I know how to get very creative and sweeten the pot for the sellers and for the agents, so it makes sense. When I'm sending the mail outs, it's hit and miss. You can send out 10,000 and maybe get one.
Yeah.
You know, you're sending out a lot, maybe get none. You know, maybe send 20,000 out to get one. You know, me door knocking at times when I see, because I still do, if I see a property that's beat, I'll go and door knock it and say, hey, I'm interested in buying your property. You know, hit and miss, but every avenue I think is important to have because you never know which one it's going to come from.
Right on.
Yeah. And you found one the other day.
Yeah. Well, I've been keeping my eye on the mountains.
Yeah.
Right. Every night, usually before I go to bed, I'm scanning through the mountain property, seeing what's new, what's sold, all that good fun stuff. Because I want to get up there, and I'm a little obsessed right now.
Yes.
Right.
So keep hyper-focused.
Hyper-focused on those mountains.
And bro, so that's what it takes to get what you want in life.
Yeah.
You got to be hyper.
Well, now I got to find a duplex like you're talking about. I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner.
Yeah.
Because that's genius.
2 to 4 unit, my man.
There has to be something.
Oh, there is. And if there's not, you make it happen.
Right.
By going out and knocking on the doors or sending out mail outs. Because a lot of times the 2 to 4 units, the address is different than the actual site because owners are investors.
Right.
So
they live somewhere else. They live on the other side of the lake.
Here's the site address and here's the mailing address. So you go out and find them, send out mailers. I am interested in buying your duplex. Here's my information. Send it to the actual owners where they live, and you know, you might get one.
Nice.
You will eventually. Yeah, you will get one.
That's what I tell my clients too, right? I'm sure you've come across this where maybe you have a borrower or a buyer whose pre-qualification is on the lower end. And instead of, like you're talking about, getting creative and trying to figure out how they can make it work for them, they see that lower number on their pre-approval and they disqualify themselves.
Yeah.
And I've had lots of buyers who you get them pre-qualified for a number they weren't necessarily happy with, but in reality, this is where they're at.
That's where they're at.
They disqualify themselves. They never get a house. And then you have some people who say, okay, you're pre-qualified for this. And they go, all right, awesome. And they don't give up until they find the deal that's going to work for them.
Yes.
They figure it out with the cosigner. They figure it out with the duplex. They figure it out in the way they structure the offer. Right.
Get creative.
And so I try to tell people all the time, because that's probably the hardest part of my job, I think, is when you have to call and deliver information that people don't want to hear. It's an emotional thing. People need somewhere to live. It's a big deal.
It is.
Right? And so
It's
you have
a
to
very
call
big deal.
somebody and tell them, hey, you're only pre-approved for $310,000.
Yeah.
Right? It's doable, but it's a lot harder.
Yeah, you may have to go to Cabazon or a different area that you weren't looking to go into, but it's a stepping stone.
Right.
And it's temporary. And one thing I tell the agents, and some of them do, some of them don't, but this is great strategy. I mean, everyone's doing the same thing. In order to achieve different results, you got to do something that others are not doing.
Right.
And even if you do what everybody's doing better than everybody else,
you're still doing
going
the
to
same
get
thing.
minimal growth over them because everybody is doing it. Well, instead of going out and looking on the MLS only, because you want to always do that,
right?
But instead of just doing that, if you have a buyer that's qualified for $310,000, you're like, man, only one $310,000 house pops up every couple of weeks, and there's 100 offers on it. It's very difficult.
Yeah.
Well, you know where the $310,000 houses are.
Right.
You know what your clients qualify for. We understand and know the market well. We have title companies that can give us lists of addresses that specifically match that criteria for our client.
For the comps, yeah.
Yes. So instead of waiting, go out, find what they want. You get their needs, wants, and desires list that fit in their budget. And then you go and make it happen.
Yeah.
You go literally knock on doors and say, hey, I'm not here as a sham. I am telling you the truth. I have a buyer that is in your marketplace that's looking to buy a home, and yours may fit their needs. Are you open to me showing it to my client? And if they like it, are you interested in selling? And they're going to say yes or no. Or they're going to say, you know what, as a matter of fact, yeah. Or they're going to say, you know what, I'm not, but I know that Bob down the street was actually talking about selling because they're going to Texas. You might want to go talk to him. Oh, cool, Mr. Smith. I'll let him know you sent me. I mean, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
You will find a property that way. I guarantee it. Because not only are you going out of your way, being resourceful, doing things differently than everybody else, but you're also going to tell them about Family Tree Realty and Investments Family Tree's special program called
7-7.
777 initiative.
Combating inflation.
Combating inflation, Mr. Seller, we're going to list your house for 1.9. When we bring our buyer in, we're only going to charge 1.9%.
Yeah.
If you're interested on, holy moly, I was thinking about selling anyway. You have a buyer that might fit the needs. 1.9 isn't it usually like 5 to 6? Absolutely.
It is, yeah.
Absolutely. So
money in everyone's pocket.
Getting creative, man, just like you're doing right now, going out there and showing people how that they can capitalize on their investment to better position themselves in life by eliminating debt, reducing monthly expenses, paying for college, investing into a new roof, investing into a flip project with your company,
building an ADU,
Right? I mean, gosh dang. So no, that's it. And that's the beauty of fortitude and foresight and actually knowing how to navigate tough situations, man. You know, you've been through some things in life, as have I.
Yeah, we all do.
We know everyone has.
Yeah.
You know, we don't fold, we dig. And that's why I love, and I know I keep going back to it, training, but you know, training, you can tell a lot about a person by how they push themselves in a workout, right? I think it's really, 100%. Really important.
Yeah.
But you know, that said, I think it's about that time.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
All right, man.
Right on. That was a good podcast.
That was good talk. Good talk. Hey, guys, that's Real Talk with Broker Joe.
Isaac French.
We love you guys. We'll see you guys next time.